Am I back? Oh, wait, that's an old one. Am I back? Hello. 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 Coming back in. Back. Had to restart it. Okay, you're obviously not going to work. Refresh. Let's see here if we have me in there. Nope. 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 Stop recording. Stop. All right, let's see where we're at here. You know, it should. Oh, it should be. It should be playing right now. Live reading. Okay, we got a new one of these. And that's gonna die, and that's gonna die, and says that one person is watching. That must be you. Man, oh, there we go. Okay, so we're back, and I see that there's one person watching. Oh, where's the chat? Come on, chat. Chatty chat chat. Hello. Okay, so, well, it's only 6 minutes past, but it is time. I need to drink some water, and hopefully, I'm going to let it go and see. Is that, who's watching here? Please state your name, rank, and serial number. Yeah, I just want to find out if this looks decent. I think it does. I can see the video moving on my screen. I turned off the sound so it doesn't keep, like echoing itself. And now, I am going to read, but I have to share this thing one more time. Where's it going? Okay, here we go. Live on air yet again. New link. 'Cause last one got broke-did. Okay. Now, we'll give it a second for other people to get that link and come up and watch us now. And I'll copy this and do the same. And actually, I got another place I need to put it into as well, and I'm going to do that right now. And, if I click on this other link and I go to this one, is that going to take me to the same place? I don't think so. That's going to take me to the one that's broke. Okay, so new place, new bat channel, new bat time, and I am really sorry if this seems totally, what's the word we use? Totally screwed up, because, well, basically it is, and it's a pilot episode, but unlike Hollywood, I don't get to make sure that it's all finished before I try it on people. Although I did, and it worked earlier, and then it didn't work later, which kind of, I don't know why that was. So I got one more place to share this to, and I'll be right back at you with your brothers and your sisters. And, let's see. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Audio addicts, that's the one. That's the one. And is it even in there? No, it's not in there. Okay, that's all right. That's quite all right. All right, so here we go. To save the day, we're at it again. All right. So this one is that one. And here we go. A reading from Icehammer. And the difficult thing with doing all this stuff on the air live is that the timing is all weird. It's like 30 seconds behind here and a few seconds ahead there, and none of it is real time. Okay.
Recently.
No, not recently. Okay. Here we go. A reading from my series titled Icehammer, the first book, Invasion. This is, well, you'll have to read the book to get it, but the whole scene, it'll play itself out here. Here we go. This is Karzai and the refugees making their way in the first days of their flight into the wilderness. They broke camp in the very early hours of the morning. The destruction of the Hamiltons' farm made for a definite, unmistakable increase in the general intensity of the group's momentum. By the time they stopped for a break 3 hours later, they had covered the same distance that took 8 hours the first day, and after only a 30-minute break were unanimously ready to move again. By the next morning, they were nearly 20 miles from their starting point. That 20 miles was linear, as in crow's flight measurement. Due to the meandering trail and terrain detours, the actual distance traveled had been closer to 30 miles. Karzai glanced across the group. The threat of imminent death does wonders to the energy level of humans. Having grown up and hunted in these woods all their lives, the Staley brothers led in the front, or as it is called in the military, point position. Brad walked 5 yards behind them as they broke through brush and made fresh trail through the dense forest, heading toward a narrow place on the banks of the Matanuska River, where they planned to cross and get on the north side of the highway near the town of Sutton, or perhaps across the highway to the native See, first mistake already, and I wrote this book. Or perhaps we'll just back up to the beginning of that sentence. Brad walked 5 yards behind them as they broke through brush and made fresh trail through the dense forest, heading toward a narrow place on the banks of the Matanuska River where they planned to cross and get on the north side of the highway near the town of Sutton, or perhaps across the highway to the native village of Chicknick. Karzai took the rear position, Jung walking alongside. The rest of the group spread out between those ends in clusters and singles that formed a meandering line of tired bodies that twisted through the rugged subarctic boreal... More words! The rest of the group spread out between those ends in clusters and singles that formed a meandering line of tired bodies that twisted through the rugged subarctic boreal wilderness. Karzai bristled at the noise the troop made as they wandered through the trees. A professional stalker, he glided over the ground with almost no sound. The rest of the group stomped like a troop of buffalo. No, buffalo are much quieter. He knew he had to cut them some slack. These were not soldiers. They were not even Taliban or Kurds or Kazakh tribesmen. They had no training, and except for Brad and the Staleys, apparently had little experience at moving through the forest with any sense of stealth. He knew that the main focus for most of them was probably avoiding the apparently predatory Devil's Club vines. The interconnected, thorn-covered stalks that suitably named plant were known to whip into the face... What? I wrote that. And... Okay, here we go. One more time. The interconnected, thorn-covered stalks that suitably named plant were known to whip into the face of unwary hikers when they stepped on a seemingly separate branch several feet away. The wicked, prickly plant grew in random patches that spread over wide areas throughout the dark woods and rendered a straight path through most of Alaska's southern forests practically impossible. Encountering a branch of Devil's Club against bare skin was a painful experience not soon to be forgotten, as dozens of almost invisible thorns would embed into the flesh from merely brushing against the stalk. I'm just going to step out of the story here and say Devil's Club is a plant of the devil. Except for what I'm about to say next. That being said, according to Jung, the plant itself was a terrific medicine for ailments from skin infections to stomach pain to headaches, depending on how it was prepared and applied. Its nickname in some parts of Alaska was Tlingit aspirin, after the southeast Tlingit tribe, spelled Tlingit, whose name was pronounced such that most non-natives... whose name was pronounced such that to most non-natives it sounded more like Tlingit. 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 Two different things, but you have to have the right ear. The Tlingit natives and several other tribes have used it traditionally for centuries. Modern Koreans harvested the early buds of the leaves, which they blanched to soften the thorns, then prepared with red pepper and soy sauce as a healthy delicacy for the dinner table. "We call it durup," Jung said. "It's very expensive to buy and very tasty, best for cleaning liver and blood, making good health for whole body." "So what about the berries?" Karzai asked, pointing to a cluster of bright red fruit that reminded him of a tight bunch of grapes. "They look pretty." "Poison," Jung said. "It's the only part of the plant that's not edible, but can be used as shampoo for dandruff or bugs in the hair." "Ugh, bugs in the hair is my only fear." Karzai shook his head, jiggling the thick black curls of what he called his perfro, combining Persian and Afro. "If bugs ever got in this, there'd be no way to remove them without fire." Jung shrugged. "Just shave it off." Karzai froze. She stopped a step later. "What? Shave my head?" "Yeah, of course, it'll grow back." "My lady," his voice choked, "this hair is an extension of my being. It's taken me decades to cultivate these luxuriant locks. They get trimmed once a year, and it is a sacred day of mourning and holy silence." "You really are crazy." "Seriously, it's a genetic wonder," he insisted. "Here, run your fingers through it." He grabbed her hand. She laughed as he pulled it into his hair. "Oh, wow," she said. "How'd you get your hair so soft? We've been in the woods for days." Their eyes locked. Her cheeks reddened. He drew her closer, his grin softening. "You can shampoo my hair any day, my lady." "You're too young," she whispered. "You look 10 years younger than you are," he said. "I feel 10 years older than I am. That makes me older. Still interested in an older man?" Their lips drew near. "I must be the crazy one," she whispered. "Don't move," he grunted. "Huh?" Jung froze. "Bear," he said. "Oh, God!" she squeaked. On its hind legs, snuffling the air, the grizzly was well over 7 feet tall and 600+ pounds. It looked at them with an expression they hoped was curiosity and not hunger. "Just stay still," Karzai said. "Don't be afraid." "Too late. I'm afraid." Karzai's eyes slid down to a pair of fuzzballs on stubby legs that bounded around the giant bear. Still on her hind legs, the mother bear grunted. The cubs quit playing and abruptly sat, looking up in expectation. When she was quiet, the ursine toddlers glanced toward Karzai and Jung, let out a high-pitched squeal, and bounded toward the humans. "No, no heel, no heel!" Karzai flicked his fingers toward the cubs. "Shoot, doggies, shoot!" Jung tried to stop shaking. It didn't work. The cubs snuffled their legs, grunting and squeaking happily. Karzai kept his eyes on Mama Bear. She grunted. The cubs didn't react. She grunted again, and one of the cubs squealed a protest. Then the dogs came bounding in, barking a late warning to their master. When they registered the playful bear cubs, curiosity grabbed them. Wagging their tails, the dogs snuffled them. That changed everything. Mama dropped to all fours, pounding the ground with a thunder that jarred across the distance. The dogs loosed a barking frenzy. Neck hair bristling, she bared her teeth. She rose again and roared. Jung screamed in response. Happy and Penny cowered. The cubs ran. Mama Bear charged. Karzai snapped his rifle up, pumping rounds into the charging bear's face and chest. She lunged. He shoved Jung away, firing one-handed. It towered over him, a shadow of blood-dark fur collapsed, burying him under its massive frame. The bear's fangs brushed against Karzai's cheek. Hot puffs of breath blasted his face, spattering him with fresh blood and the scent of never-brushed gums. She let out a final guttural growl, and her body slackened, her dead weight crushing him into the ground. Jung shoved at the mass of fur. It didn't budge. Others ran up onto the scene, joining her, faces straining as they rolled a third of a ton of Mama Bear onto its back. The animal's entrails stretched in a stinking ooze from the burst abdomen to Karzai's still form. Jung recoiled from Karzai's bloody body. His eyes were shut, mouth slightly agape, chest motionless. She buried her face in her hands, trembling. Brad slapped Karzai's face. "Karzai, wake up!" He slapped him again. The Persian lurched up, eyes snapping wide, sucking air. "Whoa! Bear! Bear!" he cried. He took a deep breath. "Oh, God, what is that smell?" He took in the bear, the group crowding around him, the gore on his clothes, then back to the bear. "Oh, yeah. Ugh, yuck." Well, that's the chapter for today's reading. I hope you had fun with that. It's just I'm trying this thing and excuse the lack of, doing it right. It was all working in my test session this morning, and I actually scheduled a bunch of other things for later in the week. And, it was very weird. But thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing a look into the booth of Basil. And I'm going to be back. I'm going to try to do this weekly, like I said last time. And hopefully it'll probably be about this time, about 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon, sometimes 4. I'll let you know a couple days in advance. It just depends on the time that I have. And by the way, it is really, really cold outside, if anyone's wondering. It's like it was in negative temperatures when I came into the booth a little bit ago. So at any rate, I've got to get back to the narration that I get paid for, actually, instead of the ones that I just have fun for, although in this case I am also having fun. Anyways, great chatting with you folks. See you next time. If you're in for some slightly more serious reading without all the bouncing around and me being me, weekday mornings, I am going to make a very concerted effort to do a morning meditation scripture reading. If you would like to join me, that would be awesome. It's very informal, and it's just me reading the Bible. Right now, we're reading through the book of Psalms for a while. And on that note, you have a wonderful rest of the day, or whatever time period you prefer to have in wonderful segments. I'm going to